Well, good afternoon. I am going to go over how I catch steelhead. And I figured what a better place to start doing that. Later on I'll show you how to make row sacks and other setups I use, pink worms. We're going to start trout beads this year, so we'll see how that goes. But I figured what a better place to do that than down by the river. So we're walking out to a new spot. I haven't really fished this year, but I sauntered in and had a look at it. And I don't need waders. But I sauntered in and had a look at it. So we're gonna go have a look there and see how it goes. Shit. Fuck it. So yeah, I didn't think this through. The whole trail is water. Well, this isn't gonna be that long anyways. So yeah, that's walking in this water is way too loud. So I'll get back to you in a minute. All right, we got through that, and holy balls, that water's cold. Anyways, so I'm going to tell you a little story to start out with. My first ever steelhead trip was down in Washington. I just had my first coho season. Started off slow, but it did okay after that. And I was like in more water. I'm gonna freeze. So I was like, where to catch a steelhead? And my buddy's like, I'm gonna do a drift boat trip down in Washington on the Clowa and the Ho rivers down there. So it's all right, I'm coming. So we had 2 days. First day was okay, I was just sort of figuring out. I had to use their gear. Second day, I hooked my first steelhead ever. They were sort of bottom bouncing. It's a different technique down there. I was like, cool. Nice big doe steelhead. And then the guy knocked it off with the net. I was like, not cool. But whatever. So then I came back, and a couple weeks after that did a first actual steelhead trip, but I was by myself. Nobody wanted to come. First steelhead trip, and I went to Prison Run. Old Prison Run up there. I'd been down below it and caught a few coho. So I came up to Prison Run. Within the first half an hour, I hooked my first better steelhead. Probably about a 12 or 13 pound doe. Beautiful fish. Wild, so I let her go. And I was like, this steelhead thing is easy. I should have never said that. Want to take a guess how long it took me to get my second one? I guess third one, I guess, technically. 47 trips. 47 friggin' trips. Man, they made me work for it. Taught me how to read steelhead water. And that was a good thing. And yeah, river's up. I'm gonna be freezing. But anyhow, yeah, steelhead. Taught me how to read water. I learned a lot from my buddies. I watched a lot when I was out on the river. And now 20 years in, I'm gonna show you how I catch them now. So stay tuned. I'll be back in a moment. All right, well, I'm down here and I got some squidgy roe and couple of spawn nets. These ones are red. You can go red, pink, whichever. And some spider wire. That is what we use. And a pair of scissors. So just lay that out. And it's really simple. It's not that bad. Getting your hands all squidgy is pretty bad, but you need to find a piece of row to use that's going to work well for you. That was a little small. And if you don't know how to cure the row, I have a video on my page, so you should go look at that and then come back and do this. So what you're going to want to do, drop it right in the middle, pull the four corners up, get them so they're nice, give it a little spin, don't over tighten it. Take your spider wire, start wrapping it, yank it off of that side. And just wind it up. Just wind it up until you're out of spider wire. There's one. We're going to do one more. I'll put it back in the sack. Now, normally I'd be doing this at home, but I figured screw it, we'll try it out here. Get your spider wire. Wrap it pretty tight and then pull it off. And take the other side, wrap that in a little bit more, and then cut the extra off. So we got two to go. Try those for a little bit. And the reason people want to use those on steelhead season is so your hands aren't like this and you're constantly cleaning them so you don't get your rod all gross and your reel. And it's friggin' cold. So you don't want to keep your hands as dry as possible for as long as possible. So we make up the row sacks early, put them in a little tub, a little Tupperware container. I bring them out, it's a quick change. Hook through the knot, slide it through the bait loop, cinch it up to the top of the hook, which I'll show you in a sec, and we're good to go. Alright, we got the hook, we got the bait loop, just like that. So I'm going to put it through the knot, make sure it's on there good, and then I'm going to slide the bait loop out. Come in behind the spawn sack and cinch it up to the top of the hook. Just like that. Guess what? Now we're gonna go fishing. And another thing I'm gonna work into my arsenal this year, because it surprisingly 100% worked on coho, is a trout bead setup. And I find that the steelhead like the double hot pink bubblegum worms, so I'm gonna try this as well. But right now there still should maybe be a coho or a few chum around, so I was gonna make a few casts with the pink trout bead, the soft one, squishy as well, and we may get lucky. Who knows? We may not. We probably won't, but there may be a fish around. Alright, we're back, and we're gonna go over some basics of stuff that I've used in the past that works, and what are some important things to look at and do to become a better steelheader. So first off, when it comes to artificials, these are the things that I use and how I rig them up. As you can see, some of them are head first, some of them are tail first. So the big worms I will use if the water's pretty high. And it's got a lot of color to it. And the clearer the water gets, the smaller the outfit gets. Whether I go to smaller pink worms, those are good on colored water as well. Or if I go to the gooey bobs with the wool, and the wool I will put some scent on, or some aniseed oil on, just something that creates a little bit of a scent trail to them. Some more artificials, aniseed eggs tied into spawn sacks as I throw it on the floor. That'll help scent as well. But yeah, that's just aniseed oil on Jensen eggs tied up in a spawn sack. I'm gonna give that a try too. Hands get extra cold, or if I run out of row or something like that, I'll put those back in there. This is my Steelhead box. I have Colorados, dimples, and straight silver blades. Those are the ones that have worked for me. And this year I'm trying beads. So I have a bunch of bead setups ready to go, and where I store my extra pink worms. Another thing you might want to do down the road is when you start wanting to learn how to read water and get in conditions. I have done multiple journals throughout the years to give me an idea of what's going on. That one's all the way back to August 24th, 2004. Cut a little rainbow. Also hooked something a little bigger, perhaps a dolly. Can't read my writing. There was also a lot of big reds. Springs, September 6th. Went back to something that looked good last week. We'll call the run Celeste. Haven't looked at this in forever. Go up September 12th. Went to the Ranger run. Water was a bit dark because of all the rain on Friday. It was dropping and clearing. Hooked 2 coho, landed 1 5-pound hatchery. Also hooked 1 on a Jensen egg and white wool. That's interesting. Rainbow, 4 or 5 pounds. Sitting about a depth of 4 feet. Yeah, so just write down the water conditions, and you can always refer back to them later. I think this one was from even before that. Yeah, that's from 2003. Way back when. But yeah, that's what I use for artificials, and then spoons as well. So next up, we're gonna go over how to tie up these row sacks a little better. All on row. That's my procured coho. This is chum row. It's gonna be a little gooier, turn out good. This is just dried out coho row I tried, and getting rid of some old coho row that was procured. So that's the rows we're gonna use, and we're gonna go through. I primarily use pink spawn sacks of different sizes like that, but I'm gonna try some red this year. Ta-da, that's my Jensen eggs. So getting back to these real quick, as you can tell, I either use beads and or wool on them. The wool is carry the scent, and the beads are to help it from ripping through the worms so quick and easy. Some of them have them, some of them don't. I guess it depends on how many fish are around as to which one I'll use, because they're gonna shred your worm up pretty quick. So if I don't expect to find a lot of fish, depending on the season or what time of the year it is or what the river's like, I'll use the one with beads so I can get more use out of them. A lot of fish around, I'll just use these with no beads on them. I was probably lazy or didn't have beads when I tied them. But yeah, they just stop the line from ripping through. Alright, we're getting into the row. We're gonna find some usable pieces. Move some of this stuff out of the way here. smaller row sacks with. Some slightly bigger ones. Try some chum roe. It's a little gooier. Really put that croaker in there. But feels good. For some slightly bigger stacks, for darker water. We're going to start with that. I will make some up with the coho roll as well. I'll show you that in a little while. But basically, you know, I'm going to try them on a little bit and beg for forgiveness from your significant other because you just got croaker paint on her toothbrush. That is never, ever going to come out. So that's going to cost me a little bit extra money right there. But yeah, got spider wire here. So what the spider wire does is it ties everything together nicely and rather invisibly as well, which is a good thing. So let's pull up our corners. Start with some of the bigger ones. Tip it out. Try to get it into a nice ball. Don't really want to spin it up too much. So you got your ball. You get spider wire. You're just going to start wrapping that up until you break it. Wrap until you run out, and then you have this. You're going to want to go in and trim the excess off with a sharp scissors. So try to use a touch. I touched it. So there it goes at. What I use is a still more that I stuck. Tupperware container, drop it in there. Now I'm going to dry this up and I'm going to go get a little bit of borax because you want to put just a little bit of borax in there and then slowly shake it up. Voila, and just like magic, borax is here. Put a little bit of in here, shake it around, and there you got your nice big healthy row sack. So let's get on with the others. I hope you enjoy the horrible music that I'm picking for this. Right. I'll put it on speed up time, so don't worry about it. All right, well, there's the first round. As you can see, varying sizes and colors. Some chum, coho row in there with orange and pink spawn nets, and some natural cured and some procured. Because you never know what they're gonna actually hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and make up about 10-15 more. And that'll have me ready for that. And I guess we'll just talk about types of water and how I generally fish it. So I'll be back in a minute. So types of water. And generally, I'm looking for a run that has 3 to 4 feet of water, even 2 to 4 feet of water, especially early season, because they'll be moving quite a bit. Water that's got a nice green to it, just, you know, a good color. Like you'll find this, you figure out steelhead color. It's sort of a different color in the wintertime. It sounds weird, but once you see it, you'll see it. You'll know what I'm talking about. And it's not moving too fast, and it's not moving too slow. It's generally going, if you're walking a comfortable pace, it's generally moving about the same speed that you're walking. So if you want to figure out if it's the right speed, just walk beside the river, pick a point, like a flat section, pick a point out on the river, and start walking. And then just keep your eyes peeled in that same spot and see if it's moving the same speed downriver, like a glassy section or a flat section that you were. If it is, then that might seem like a pretty good area to start. Anyways, so yeah, color, depth, speed, and keep moving. Like when I find a nice run and I start fishing it, I'll cast like literally 3 feet off the shore, and I'll let it run 20 feet down. I'll plant a few casts in there, and then I'll go out like 3 or 4 feet further, cast a little bit further, let it run down a little bit further. 3 or 4 casts there, cast out a little bit further again, and keep working your way out and down. If there's nothing there, move down 10 feet, do the whole thing over again. I usually plant 3 or 4, maybe 5 casts if I really think there's fish there. 5 casts in an area at once before I move down 10 feet and I do the whole thing over again. So keep moving. If you make it all the way down to the run and you've worked it through with spawn sacks, you think something else could have moved in, go back at the top, change, and put a pink worm or a gooey bob on, or even I've caught them on Colorados. If the water's a little softer, a little slacker, you can toss some spoons in there. You can even toss spoons in a good run. It's got enough depth to it, they'll hit spoons too. So yeah, just keep moving. I'm gonna get a circuit together with like 3 or 4 runs that I hope normally produce fish. I don't know if they do yet, or if they will. I'm gonna find out. And that's gonna be my circuit. Those are gonna be the 2 or 3 spots I always go to. I'll start with the best spot, I'll end with the best spot. Sometimes I'll go back, try the same spot I started with, I'll go back and try it again later on in the day, because fish are always moving, you could always move in. So that's how I fish that. And later season, like March, April fish, they're gonna be extra frisky. My landing percentage on later season fish goes way down from January, February, March, even some December fish. Yeah, they fight. Steelhead fight like a totally different beast, especially a good size one compared to the same size. Like you'll get a 12-pound steelhead that'll fight faster and harder. It's kind of like a combination of a chum and a spring that pulls so hard, like your rod's gonna be doubled the fuck over. But there's something different as well. I've seen one take a guy on a big run, then turn around, come flying back upriver. The guy couldn't catch up, jump over a log that was leaned over in the water, and go back down underneath the log. Well, you're all sitting there, you're like going, "What? Did I?" Yeah, you just saw that. So that was a big one. Like he'd probably been back in the system like 2 or 3 times. He knew what was up. That's why steelhead are just held at a different degree than everything else that we catch out there. I love them. I can't wait to hopefully get into one again this year. I have barely been able to fish for them for 5 years. I went up for an hour a couple of years ago and I hooked one. Got right to the beach. It was a while, so I didn't care that I lost him at the beach. It was nice fighting him. I was going, yeah, I still got it. Stuff like that. But yeah, I hope this video helps. I'm gonna go back and continue getting my bait ready. And I'm gonna try to get a GoPro or something chest mounted, so if I get that strike, I'll hopefully be recording. And be able to share that with you guys as well. So I hope you have good luck this year for stringing your worms up. I also have a worm stringer needle. You can get this at tackle shops. It comes with a few beads, white beads. I don't usually use white beads on them. Explain the beads and purpose of them earlier. Owner hooks, read the water. If you're in a 3-foot run, have your float to weight 2.5 feet, 2 feet. Steelhead, if you're on bottom, bring it up. There's no point being on bottom. You'll lose way more gear. You'll lose time tying up setups. You don't want to do that when it's this cold out and usually rainy and or snowy. I never make pre-made setups, but for Steelhead I do. That way it's just one quick easy hook. And that's also the reason for the row sacks. So I'm not sitting there having to wash my hands all the time. The row sacks are way cleaner and easier to put on. And they last way longer. Like, I'll get 5 casts out of the row, but I'll get 25 to 30 casts out of a good tied row sack with good cured row. So that also helps out. You can use gloves. Gloves sort of help until they get wet, and then they're pointless, and it's your fingers that get cold anyways, and those are fingerless gloves. So I don't, unless it's really cold, I don't use those very often. I just stop, put my rod through my arm, and stick my hands in my hand warmers for like 15 minutes and then get back to fishing. Yeah, that's about all I've got to say for now. If you have any questions, ask away. I'll see if I can answer them, and hopefully we all get into a Steelhead this year. So good luck, guys. Tight lines, and go get your stuff ready. Steelhead season's coming.